Thank you so much for joining me. This is Archon Jade, and you are a Satanist.
I
How
am.
how did that happen? What was the story of that?
I've known that I was atheistic since I was like 13. Um I didn't never read the actual Bible, but I had like a children's edition of the Bible that one of my grandparents had given me, and I read through that, and the stories were great, but they were always just stories. And then I learned that other people didn't see them as stories. And that just never made any sense to me. I've always been very kind of like rational, and I come from a very scientific background. And I'm like, there's not any objective evidence of any of this that, that speaks to me. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. So I've always known that. And then when TST started blowing up their, that's the Satanic Temple, when they started blowing up their membership, when Donald Trump was running back in he was running for 2016. And so it was about 2015 that was happening. I was like, how can this possibly be good? I don't understand. And just the link between him and evangelical Christianity, and I wanted to be very oppositional. And so I was like, how can I do that? And then I was like, oh, here's this group that is very much for religious pluralism. They're using the rules to point out the hypocrisy. And I'm like, cool. And so I got into that. And then shortly after that, I met a gentleman who had been a Satanist since he was like, I don't know, 16 or something like that. And he's tried out all the different kinds. So he's just talking to him. And that's sort of where I found this. I started making up my own thing where I started with the triumvirate, where, the three major figures to me are Lucifer, Lilith, and Leviathan.
I noticed that when you were talking about going into demons and understanding that
Yes.
demons were essentially just to oppose unjust authority.
Yes. So Lucifer's whole thing is the opposition of unjust authority. God says, don't do this, but never gives you a good reason why. And the reason that he gives is a lie. And it's like, but why? Why should God be in charge? There's never, nothing ever, it's never justified. It's just because. And that just doesn't make any sense. If somebody's going to be in charge of you, then, it's like we, the people, we're giving people power over us. Then I want to know that they should have that power over us.
Right. I noticed when I was reading the Tanakh and doing the history of the Bible that God's promised land has not been in possession of his promised people that often, which makes you wonder why exactly are you the promise is not coming through here for you guys,
Right.
unfortunately. So you went through a few transitions. You did the Satanic Temple, and then a Luciferian, and then
Right.
eventually it morphed into what you are now, which we'll get into in a second. But I just want
Mhm.
to ask, what was kind of the difference between Satanic Temple and Luciferianism, and kind of what were the reasons you wanted to just expand on those ones instead stay?
So the Satanic Temple is they're very focused on the fact that they're an atheistic religion. There's debate now as to whether or not it was intended to be a religion for real or a joke when it was founded, but for a lot of people, it really has become a legitimate religion, regardless of how the original founders intended it or not, because there's a lot of debate.
Mm-hmm.
But they're very much focused on, Lucifer only as an archetype, only as a figure that they may emulate, but it's very much this is fake. They're not really that big into any of the, sorry, sometimes I lose my words,
Oh, no worries.
the trappings of religion, where the, what is that word?
Like dogma, like people are uh,
Mass, or like having a get together and doing a religious thing.
church, like get together.
That's not the word I'm going for. I'll think of it in a minute, but like
No,
I'm sure it'll come to me. But they're very much not into any of that. And so a lot of people who are atheists in the atheist community, they find that they miss the community of having a church, having a group of like-minded people, rituals. That's the word I was looking for.
rituals. Okay,
Yeah.
there.
So yeah, the TSTs really doesn't do rituals. And there's a lot of research in psychology where, you know, having a group of people that has this common goal, having these rituals where, you know, you're doing things with other people is very beneficial psychologically, and a lot of atheists miss it.
Mhm.
So Luciferians, on the other hand, I don't want to say that they believe Lucifer is real, because not all of them do, but like
Right.
it's very much more personal. It's more of like a personal connection with Lucifer, as opposed to him being far away, like as in just this archetype being. So I really appreciated that, and I really liked that, and that's kind of why I interpreted all three of the main characters that I believe um, form kind of the basis of the triumvirate as more archetypes that you emulate, and you can see them more in your everyday life, as opposed to just like this static being that exists outside of you.
At least the way you see things, are they more metaphorical that we bring to life, or are these actual deities that exist?
Yeah, they're more metaphorical, and we bring them to life, but we bring them to life because we believe. Like we believe that, you know, Lucifer represents the fight against arbitrary authority and the quest for knowledge and wisdom. Well, you know, by fighting against arbitrary authority and, you know, learning new things, you are becoming a Satan. You are emulating Lucifer. And so it really it makes it more personal because it brings him to life for you, not necessarily like them being actual people that you can talk to outside of yourself.
Right. So the Satanic Church was nice because you had that
The
community getting together, but ultimately it was a bit too literal theistic for you to be comfortable.
Luciferians.
The Luciferians. Okay.
I just thought it was too limited because it was so focused on Lucifer.
Hmm.
And I'm like, Lucifer is wonderful, but I feel like it's just one aspect of what we as people should be striving for. And the beliefs and the ethics that I hold, I feel are better represented by a larger pantheon.
I haven't heard much about Lilith. I know in astrology, hear the term Black Lilith a lot. So,
Hmm.
what exactly is Lilith? I'm not too familiar.
You're aware of Lilith from the Christian interpretation, right? Where she was the first wife of Adam and she refused to lie beneath him. No,
No,
really?
I didn't. I mean, it was not in the Tanakh in the Bible, so I did come
Oh,
across
that's
it.
so surprising. I haven't done a bunch of research into the past of it, but from everything that I had heard, that it was she was mostly this Jewish interpretation of she was the previous wife of Adam before Eve. And so what happened was is Adam and Lilith were both created from dust. They were the same. They were made the same. And when Adam asked her to lie beneath him, she was like, "Why? We're equal." And of course, she was shunned for that and she got kicked out of, well, actually, it's either she got kicked out of the garden or she chose to leave, one of the two.
Hmm.
And then she became the mother of modern demons because she'd rather hang out with them than go back to Adam and be lesser. So
Whoa.
that, yeah, that is the origins of Lilith. So to me, Lilith is very much this bodily autonomy and equality fight. And so that really resonates with me.
Right. It's like you were born into this role, but you're going, that's not me. Why would I just be subservient for no reason?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So if, you know, I am just as good as any other person, regardless of how I am different from other people. So why would I pretend that I'm not as good just because of whatever intrinsic thing about me you think makes me lesser?
Makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, it seems that many of these archetypes are not scary at all. They seem very much just to empower the individual rather than just submit
Yeah.
to some regime you're born into more often than not.
And that's a lot of the whole left hand path is very much that self-empowerment. The Abrahamic religions are very much follow the rules. It's bad because God says it's bad, etc., etc. And it's you have to stay in this very defined box. And if you step out of the box, then all hell breaks loose.
So let's talk about stepping out of the box. Then you have this website and you have this movement. I'll pull it up. The Triumvirate of the Dawn, and it's described as a secular, humanist, satanic community for justice, knowledge, and liberation. So, what exactly inspired this, and what are your ultimate goals? What would you like people to know about it?
It's really inspired by the situation that I find myself in the United States. So many of us are not happy, not just with the current administration, but with the representation that we have from both parties. There are a lot of people who very much want things to change. There are a lot of people who recognize that the systems are set up to benefit, the 1%, and everybody else gets screwed. So what I would like is to kind of, and that's where Leviathan comes in, is he's this mutual aid and collective. And if we all rise up together, then we are bigger and stronger and badder than anything that can be thrown at us. And so what I would like is to create an alternate system, because I mean, ideally revolution, yay, but we also don't kind of, that's not necessarily the best thing for the people in the moment, though it may be getting us to something that we like. So what I'm hoping to do is to create a parallel structure for society, basically, and to kind of use the rules, quote unquote, of capitalism to better life for everybody instead of for just the capitalists.
Looking for a bit of a cultural invasion to start the revolution rather than a bloody one.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
pretty
that makes.
much.
You were talking exactly before. The thoughts and prayer do nothing. It's praxis,
Exactly.
which I had to look up means processes. I didn't know that word.
Yeah, praxis is it's a word that's thrown a lot in like communist and anarchist type groups. They throw that word around a lot. But yeah, it's all the time. Things are happening, something bad happening. Oh, I'll pray for you. That's wonderful. I'm glad you will feel better, but that's not going to actually help me. So, what will actually help people? Doing things to actually help people. That's what, mutual aid, that's what it's all about. When there's a hurricane in the Gulf, it's not everybody praying that's going to fix it. It's people sending food and water and supplies and building shelters. And we used to have that in communities, small communities, and people worked together. And that's how we became the dominant life force on the planet. We're a communal organism. So just because we've globalized, I feel like that shouldn't mean that we can't have community anymore and we can't work together to better the situation for everyone.
I love that. I've noticed that a lot with the satanic communities. Is that is just about aid, giving
Mhm.
to others, so that people can, live their lives. A lot of people
Yeah.
aren't being able to live their lives, and uh, thank you for. This has been a great conversation. I'm glad we got through all the hard questions. I just got a couple easy ones for you now. Uh,
Okay.
uh, First of all, if you were to go through all the media and like movies, comic books, whatever, what do you think your favorite depiction of Satan is? Looks wise, vibes wise.
Uh, what's the, I think it's just called, no, it's called Lucifer, the TV show Lucifer,
Mm-hmm.
where he's a nightclub owner, and he makes deals with people, and he still does all of that stuff, but it's not the, what's it called, where you make a deal and they always turn it so that it's bad. Faustian deals, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's not like that. It's literally just, him making deals and then calling in favors. And it's very interesting. And then there's this whole aspect of him learning about humanity and becoming more human. And I very much like that.
I
Also
haven't seen
very
it.
funny.
I should probably check it out. I think it was a TV show, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. I've definitely seen the poster for it. I'm going to check it. I've got all the Satanists have given me great media recommendations, trying to see where everyone comes from. I haven't had Lucifer yet. That's a good one. Okay. And then just last question in general, is there anything that you would like people to know? Anything we haven't covered, whether it's about, some sort of specific fact about Satanism or how Satanism has uh, affected you in your life?
Don't take things at face value. I feel like so much of what's happening is because people, they believe what they're told, they believe this propaganda. The idea of research is, watching some YouTube videos from people who don't know any more than you do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to speak on something, if you're going to have opinions about something, I feel like you should actually know what you're talking about. And that fits in with Satanism and with Lucifer, is this, the quest for truth. It's not just whatever makes you feel good. And I find that's one of the things that has always bugged me about evangelical Christianity, especially in the US, is when the Bible contradicts itself, you pick whichever one makes you feel better, or whichever
Mm-hmm.
one fits the situation at the time, or whichever one means you're not doing anything wrong and you can hit other people with it. And that just very much feels like not what religion should be. I feel like a person's personal religion should very much be whatever helps them, not what hurts other people.
I think that's incredibly well put. I am so annoyed by that myself. I see, like, I've seen women with Galatians tattooed on their body, which is a book written by Paul, who hated women and told them to shut up. And you're sitting here like, okay, we're
Yeah,
really thinking what to choose here. Uh, Archangel, this has been a great conversation. I'm really glad I could get you on. And we're gonna try and send some people your way and get the cultural revolution underway, if we shall.
definitely can use all the help we can get.